This call is being recorded.
Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Okay, no worries. So I am recording our conversation. Please do not hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions whatsoever. That is totally fine. Um, I'm going to actually, I know this is a gift actually. So may I get your time, place, and date of birth, please?
Yes. December 21st, 1980. 10:20 p.m. Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Awesome. All right. All right, cool. So I am recording our conversation. Please do not hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions whatsoever. That is totally fine. And wow, I am already mind blown. I feel like I'm being trolled by the universe, to be completely honest. I literally just finished a rather epic consultation with and I always have to tell the next person the sign I received or seeing because now you represent like the fulfillment of it, and I feel like that's a part of your energy and power because your timing is so incredible. This wouldn't have happened if everything didn't kind of come through like this. So you definitely represent a completion of this. But I literally just spoke to a woman before you whose rising is in Pisces and her sun is 0 degrees Cancer. And you have your rising opposite in Virgo and your sun is 0 degrees Capricorn.
With my moon in Cancer too, yeah.
Right. So I'm just completely stunned right now. Especially because every time I've done a reading so far with Virgo, anything, y'all just have the audacity to just stay on point so much. It's mind blowing. It's like this level of precision. It's like winning the lottery. For example, like Saturn and Jupiter right next to each other, profound. And then you have Neptune and Mercury close to each other. Like I appreciate it, but it's also kind of terrifying to me because it's just like, wow, this is uh, haunting consistency. And I always like to see Virgo as like being able to apply that consistency in like a way ninjas do or assassins do. So it's like, oh my God, like they really are real. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Capricorn is, of course, I acknowledge as the GOAT. And 0 degrees Capricorn here is also 30 degrees Sagittarius. So this is the full completion and mastery of your ascended God consciousness or goddess consciousness now stepped into the beginning of integrity, which is cool because now at this point you've already progressed into Aquarius. So now you're touring your progression into celestialhood, becoming an ascended master, but or gaining the quality of ascended mastery. But yeah, I love that you referenced your Cancer moon in its dignity here, which is the soul feeling. So you are the complete version of Capricorn here with the Libra sun moon signature representing holy integrity, the sincere director or the holy director, the completion of your receptivity into your own individual feelings about the 11th house collective and where you feel you belong, expressed through Capricorn's ability to control the self realization of your character. And opposite Cancer, not really feel. So the way I like to see this is like you're you're the Capricorn that's in touch with their feelings and can actually feel your feelings, but then also control how you express it outwards, which we say is the completed version, because this now adds so much sincerity into your grounded expression. And then, of course, being Virgo rising is the master or the critic. And so, as the critic or master, you are the holy director. Um, and the key thing here with the rising in Virgo has a whole lot to do with, as critics do, unveil hidden meaning. And we know that you have, of course, um, all this amazing magic and stellium, mini stellium in Sagittarius with Neptune and Mercury and Venus, which is that hidden understanding of meaning. So, Virgo rising has fourth house Sagittarius, which is uncovering hidden fourth house and then meaning coming through into with Sagittarius unveiling the hidden vision or meaning of everything that you critique or apply this critical personality and perspective to. Another facet of this reading, which is very key, has a lot to do with the positioning of the quality and nature of your planets. And what I mean by that is a lot more so that your moon is an individual Cancer, representing the quality of your spirit. You have the first four individual signs, which are one of a kind. And I like to akin to maybe an aspect or element of the base human form, although Cancer is like the beginning of superhuman power. And then you have the social zodiac signs from Leo to Scorpio. If the first four are more human, I like to see this as like at the superhuman level. And then you have the last four zodiac signs, which are collective, pertaining to the entire world at large. And we can call this the realm of the gods. And so Capricorn, which is at the director goddess level, will now, of course, as a Cancer moon, give you the class of the individual collective director or the individual godlike being, where you are aware of everything you're going through collectively. Capricorn is able to apply that highest vision of Sagittarius and take action collectively in a sense. But everything that you feel about this greater awareness or goddess level awareness is individual. It
Mm.
brings your own individual feelings about where you belong in that 11th house feeling into what you do creatively. And my bad, please feel free if you have any questions to interrupt or anything you want to mention, that's totally fine.
Oh, this is really beautiful. Most people that read my charts it's not this optimistic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like fatalistic predictions out here, which I think people kind of, I know when I first started reading too, I kind of had that kind of like, I don't want to say negative, but like darker look at these planets. But thankfully, a lot of this is measuring potential too. So, yeah, I definitely like to give people their flowers, but like speak on the true nature of this, which, yeah, it's very very powerful here, especially with the near exactness of the opposition, which is once again an indicator of how you stay on point, uh, and dare I say, in terrifying ways, because it's one thing to see, like, be aware of the collective. Capricorn is that functional, practical, collective direction, right? like the director that directs all the actors on set. I like to call Cancer the makeup artist, and then the critic of the movie is Virgo. But um, feeling the Cancer, the moon in Cancer is the holy soul, and the superpower of this is empathy, as well as like a psychic level of intuition that's just very uncanny. So people don't know that your mind and your brain is like a hidden camera in people's brains and minds. So you can literally like see what they're thinking and then feel what it is they're thinking. It's just like
Mhm.
unlike most cancers, people can't really gaslight you because you're a walking proof. I always like to call Virgo risings the living receipts. Like you psychoanalyze your reality so well that this level of emotional intelligence is legitimately legendary. So like the moment someone wants to deny what you felt about them, you're showing them the hidden camera, like, well, what is this? What is you doing this right here? Like this is clearly, what I was saying. And I think that can really freak people out because a lot of this discernment may actually even be unconscious to you. It's right behind your sun. So, like, you could just say something in a way that completely exposes what they were thinking inside. And your intent probably wasn't even to expose them. You probably just wanted to talk about the weather. And now
Mhm.
on a body language level, you've kind of freaked and spooked certain people out. I mean, if they have integrity and they're pure, it's not going to spook them out. It's just going to draw them closer to you and have more of the love about you. But this can kind of freak out people with ulterior motives, hidden enemies, um, as it probably should. But I just kind of wanted to speak on that because a lot of the major feature of this chart kind of details um, your connection with these extra dimensional facets. Mercury in your chart is how your brain processes information. And at this collective ascended level, where you have like the ascended processor in Sagittarius, whereas Mercury likes to be in Gemini and process bits of information real time, is what's true. Sagittarius ascends to the higher meaning. So, Gemini is going to be the word, but Sag is going to be what the word means. And so your mind is constantly processing the higher meaning of experiences. But as a Virgo rising, you inert that into applying this analysis into figuring out the hidden meaning of things. You literally are able to, with Neptune, put on these spiritual goggles, and like Neptune will show you the metaphysical, abstract, spiritual meaning that's beyond the physical that will kind of show you, oh, the reason why this person has a nasty attitude is because they have this malicious entity next to them fueling their mental illnesses that, you know, maybe it doesn't even, Neptune here could be abstract imagery with which you can now ground in whatever real ways it makes sense. But
Mhm.
but Neptune might just show you like a snake flying, and then you find out a way to kind of like, okay, so maybe it's not a flying snake, but maybe symbolically a snake could mean it's like dream symbols that you're able to, or it could be literally literal. It could be literal too. So the cool thing about this is legitimately ascended psychic abilities too. So this is going to show you clairvoyant. Everyone in this generation, it'll show clairvoyant visions, but with Mercury linked to it, you're able to process these with your brain and literally see hidden understandings and meanings almost within an instant. It's a form of claircognizance that forgoes the need of uh, inductive and deductive reasoning and analysis because you're so psychic and ascended at this level. You see it, and it leads to you knowing this, and then it's confirmed with what you kind of find out about individuals. I kind of also want to maintain, though, however, that um, any kind of distortion or confusion with this may come with just doubting what it is you see, even if it doesn't make full on sense because there's a higher level to this that could be very difficult since once again it foregoes postmodern materialist reductionist science and taps you more into that quantum mechanic understanding of the multi-layered illusions or realms that once again with the way your brain processes experiences literally shows you the deeper hidden meaning of how everything is connected in that sense.
Yeah.
And thanks for confirming. It's hard to say because it's very supernatural. It's very intuitive. It's mastered here. So I mean, you can give a TED talk on this because the MC in Gemini is now your legacy and your individual legacy and mission of changing the whole world and the way the world kind of thinks and analyzes truth and communicates. Um, Venus being on an IC is this adventurous heart that once again unveils this ancestral magic collectively uh, that you're able to kind of show. Neptune here usually also correlates with alcoholism, addiction, and also illusions, delusions, and projections, and also, nebulous pathological lying. So this could also be something that you attract in the collective and having to deal with because I get a sense that you manifest this analytical behavioral therapy for people, maybe even people in your family or people close to you, where even if like they don't have mental illnesses and they're cool people, you notice these traits in
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, uh, definitely, especially with my 7th house Pisces.
Right. I love that you reference seventh house Pisces because that I feel like is the completion of how this plays out with other people. I think
Yeah.
that was like perfectly said, to be honest, because now the ruler of the seventh is in the fourth. So this is going to have a lot to do with boundary crossing and really assessing how in powerful ways so much of this energy attracts you literally set forth divine partnerships, but this of course can attract people who not really just take your kindness for granted but don't have boundaries or challenge you in certain ways to draw boundaries in original raw ways, but also because it's not all bad, right? It really brings us a magic through people to draw from people this more abstract nature of one's personality, amongst other things. But it's definitely going to go a long way to really establish this, especially when we take into account uh, in the fourth house now with Sagittarius, how amazing you understand the archetype of who you draw into your world. And yeah. I want to maintain now, instead of really just drawing in a certain type of people, this is your ability to see this in any person, to really kind of see through their own lies they tell themselves or their divinity, and to really kind of show them that inner god and goddess. And because your sun is within 10 degrees of Neptune, it does count as some form of alien construct. And this Neptunian alien construct gives you the ability to ascend, dance the sacred dance, uh, heal using hypnotherapy, reflexology, assist the dying in crossing over, navigate through the astral planes, in the sign of ascension where there's supernatural properties here that the light of your sun gains power to. But because even though your sun falls in the fourth, because Capricorn rules your fifth, this is that Virgoan approach to creativity that fascinates me because like Aries wants to have fun. Like Aries is going to play guitar because it's fun for them. Like they're gonna play a song because it sings to their heart. Virgo rising is gonna play guitar, especially with the fifth house Capricorn, but they don't want to just have fun. They want to be the greatest. So they're gonna have they're going to put in their talents and they're going to practice every day and they're going to be the greatest or not in comparison to anyone else, but like what they do for fun, they're going to do in the absolute greatest way they can. And so there's just this like the most disciplined aspect of your chart is here in your inner child where it's like everything you do for fun. Normally, I like to see as a Taurus rising, I kind of experience this too. Like fifth house Earth is like your work is fun. You trying to have fun at work,
Yeah.
uh, which is awesome. So you would say that when it comes to what you love to do, you has to be the greatest.
Also, I'm a bit of a workaholic because of my fifth house sun, so I not only like to have fun at work, but I work a lot if I have
That's
the chance.
awesome. That's incredible. I also kind of want to say Mars there too, and its exaltation is like you being able to apply that discipline every single day and it be fun and it actually be challenging. It's like you're going to really express a lot of your power personally through this. But the key thing here, which is wild, is you also have this exactly square Pluto, which I can imagine is super intense.
Yep.
Uh, my first question for that is, does that attract a lot of obsession sexually from men and women?
Uh, it has been problematic in my life. Yes, I tend to attract, especially with my seventh house. The seventh house Pisces and the Pluto uh, square my Mars. Uh, there's a bit of chaos there.
Wow,
Yeah, like if it's too simple, if it's too easy, I tend to just shy away from it. So,
right,
yeah.
I feel you. That's deep. Um, wow. I think it goes a long way too, because a lot of how personally you tap into, you know, other people collectively, which I forgot to really speak on, this whole pipeline and understanding of you have the individual soul and you have the collective rising, right? But you have the collective, how do I say it? Um, Spirit. So you're an individual goddess, let's say. What we see here is you have a social personality, and that's where I wanted to end that with. Whereas I have a individual personality as a Taurus rising, right? And also um, a individual spirit as a Gemini sun. The reason why you paid me so I can talk to you is because that's how I manifest. I deal with people one on one because I'm an individual. And the way I manifest my second house is one on one individually. You're the next level up here with the social personality, and you have very powerful social power. I wanted to wait to talk about your second house because it's one of the most powerful second houses I've seen. And so your potential for income is that much more because instead of manifesting one on one, you manifest social Libra. Gemini is individual, but Libra is social. So the partnerships you manifest now manifest this power and balance for the social environment around you, which connects you with more people. Even if you did it one on one, it's still more dynamic. And this is expressed, however, through the collective channeling Capricorn to express the social nature of your personality collectively to apply to the whole world, to apply to a whole organization. And so that's what I found fascinating. Whereas, in a core sense, you and I are still individuals. You at the soul level, where you bring your individual feelings to this collective awareness socially, and me as through my spirit, where I express my spirit socially. I have my moon in Capricorn now, so I feel everything collectively, whereas you express everything collectively. And how do you feel about that?
I feel like this moon opposing my sun, I don't I feel like it's always been um this dichotomy because with Capricorn I'm supposed to be wanting to rise to the top, but I feel like since my moon is so prominent and exalted, everything I do tends to be based on feeling. It's not I'm definitely not a typical Capricorn.
And I appreciate you mentioning that too, because I mean, outside of your sun here, Mars in its exaltation is really the only other Capricorn power you have, which is more than enough. But yeah, I really do feel that at the core of your soul, you are the high priestess here. You got the moon in Cancer, so you bring that nurturing vulnerability into the superpower, very, you know, incredibly. So yeah, if we do look at your second house, one thing I really find fascinating about 1980 is that we had that triple conjunction with Saturn, Jupiter, and Neptune. And I think I guess 81, but not Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, and then Mars too, which we see squared for you. So y'all understand a lot of what happened 2020, unlike other people, because this completed a lot of the squares. Y'all the only ones who went through this triple square. And the way you play that, the where this plays out for you is an element of your self-esteem that I think you overcame and completed 2010. Yeah, coming into 2010, having Jupiter and Saturn together is so rare. And then in the same sign as Pluto, which is the ruler of your third, links this development of your emotional intelligence psychologically to how extremely you hone in on your value, especially because uh, with Pluto here, this is now transforming collectively and socially uh, rules of marriage and transforming the meaning of relationships here. I like to say people with this kind of bring or feel a sense of social anxiety because of this intensity that's being brought into here. It's really intense social power that you have. And so this is an element of your wealth because you have so much expertise and power in manifesting balance, but also manifesting partnerships. Jupiter connected to the second, even if it falls in the first, is a huge indicator of wealth and money. Kylie Jenner has a second house Jupiter. I think Bill Gates has a second house Jupiter exactly on Pluto, but in the same sign next to Saturn is cool because Saturn connected to the seventh house, second house is also an indicator of wealth, but one that is not seen short term, mainly after successive Saturn cycles. Where I mean, I think if Kanye is a Cancer rising, he has this and he has like $10 billion because this is really like corporation money. And so having Saturn and Jupiter here with Pluto is it's just the most serious indicator of wealth that I've seen, especially through non-conventional channels, which will have everything. I feel like Capricorn rising is the network marketer with the second house aqua, but you have it in your sixth house as a Capricorn sun. So you kind of have both of those in a way. Your awareness of your fifth house creatively aligns and integrates your lifestyle with the right collective and network so that you can live an unconventionally advanced lifestyle. And my North Node is in Aquarius, so to see yours in Leo is unlocking this maybe somewhat misunderstood but divine and legendary destiny path that is unlocking your advanced lifestyle as a resource to live and follow your heart's spiritual path, but to also really align and show others and teach others how to live the life that their heart guides them down. And not in like a cliche follow your heart way, but more so in an authentic what is it that your heart is really telling you? And what is it that you are passionate about establishing? Because you have very interesting, you have Chiron on the ninth, Chiron, the late 70s, 80s generation with Chiron opposite Uranus and Scorpio is fascinating because Chiron in Taurus is your natural healing ability, and not only this capacity for natural healing, but also this ability to now channel pure energy through Scorpio to ground naturally through your physical touch or any sense of sensuality that we see evidenced here, which is also very important once again, because what we see through this is now from the ninth to the third. Normally, people with this, regardless of house, especially if they do body work or massage, like y'all are able to just intuitively know where to touch somebody to heal them. Very,
Mhm.
very, very dynamic. philosophically, the way in which you kind of teach, especially indirectly or directly through this nature aspect of your own body language, grounds and heals the nature of their values and provides this natural way of transmute. It aligns your philosophy with natural healing. But I want to be mindful because even though we see evidence, like it's common to see people involved in some kind of body work, healing, nursing, it doesn't have to be such a conscious intent to heal. It could
Mhm.
really be a natural effect of like your presence or being around you or your values. So I'm really drawing that out because Uranus in the third is an aspect and mark of a child prodigy. In a way, especially as you express genius into your world and in the way you think, and how this adds psychologically to your emotional intelligence and how you really deal with other people, because this is going to influence your attitude to not only think outside the box, but to clear cognizantly sense into the psychological nature of the social environments around you, bearing in the social quality of Scorpio, which has to bear into account the complex sharing of emotions with other people, thus being able to psychologically sense, where people are at, and also how people personally, are trustworthy or not. So this may kind of just be you being able to psychologically discern a lot of people's pure intent and how people think, amongst other things. I see this is like a supernatural antenna here, also being able to really, come up and engineer ingenious solutions to issues you may deal with others, because all of that now forms this in opposite and completes an individual philosophy here with Taurus, which now kind of takes things in a certain sense to another level.
Mhm.
And how does that resonate? Because it's kind of Uranus and Scorpio has always been a question mark for me because it's not the easiest to understand. But like, I want to do a documentary on that. It's that fascinating to me. How do you really like connect with that?
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating that you're explaining it this way because I've always thought outside of the box, and I don't like, with Uranus in the 3rd house, my mind, like, especially with my Neptune Mercury conjunction, it's just like I go
Hmm.
10,000,000 miles a minute, but I don't know exactly. It's like Sagittarius has a name, but it doesn't really know where it's going kind of thing. So my mind tends to just I've been told this from people around me that, I just tend to zone out a bit. With the Uranus there, it's just like it's mostly internal because it's the bottom, like it's the first quadrant, right? So,
Yeah,
um,
I
this
love
this really resonates with me.
And I really appreciate the language you're using. Like a lot of what you're very knowledgeable about a lot of this stuff already. So it definitely helps me read this, which I appreciate.
Well, it's really
Um,
thanks to you. I've been listening to you for years now, so just gotta let you know that it was, I'm obsessed with astrology, and I haven't missed your transit talks and everything like that, and I don't know if this, Pluto transiting my Mars thing that I went through was really just like a complete rebirth, and it was, like, one of the hardest transits I've ever gone through,
mhm.
but, um yeah, I just wanna just take a moment to thank you because I've been listening to your transit talks, and I've been laughing my ass off while I'm learning, so, yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
just amazing.
And I really love that you brought in um, Mercury and Neptune with Uranus, because blending those two together uh, is so legendary. I think what I picked up intuitively when you said that you zone out, is
Mhm,
your mind, like, processing phenomena that can't be put or understood through a human lens. And
mhm,
so it's like you literally creating reality real time, or like you processing something that's just like beyond the ability to make sense of. And so it's like your processor glitching, or just like or you're just in another zone literally. And
mhm,
the reason why I say it like that is you're now stepping into, like never before, the understanding. Oh, thank God. You're now stepping into more the understanding of integrating these experiences without really necessarily uh, being in the dark about how they work, but being more of an authority figure around it and understanding these mechanics in ways that could be expertly explained. But at the same time, not that they have to be explained, because there's in a sense you do appreciate preserving, the mystery of what can be preserved in a certain sense. But once again, outside of that, I definitely feel like with Chiron on the ninth, it's like you can heal with your teaching and how you're able to take these deeper psychological concepts and break it down simply and teach them like so groundedly, or in
mhm.
grounded ways, which is also amazing. So yeah, if we go back to the second house, like Juno is here with Pluto, so this is awakening this sense of commitment in the partnerships you manifest. And I think that square with Mars and Pluto from the second to the fifth is you breaking through how much intense, because now squares are going to be outside influences, but this is also the intensity of classic power that triggers and awakens how you feel this power incredibly. So it's almost like maybe having this watchful eye over your shoulder that's testing how pure your intent is. But that square adds a nuclear intensity into your actions, and how much more precise, like a surgeon with the scalpel, you incredibly work and take action. And I feel like there's a supernatural property with Pluto here that's just drawing on that intensity, because now as a Virgo rising, Virgo and Sagittarius rising especially have superpowers, and Libra is a social superpower. And you literally have the three titans, even though technically Saturn is the only titan and then Jupiter and Pluto are like Olympians, but you have like three of the biggest like gods in the second. So this is like the most intense social that you manifest. And we can kind of akin this to electricity, electric power. And I kind of want to see it as like a mental superpower since it's Libra. So yeah, how do you how does that play out for you as far as like the manifestation of this social power? Is this like being able to build relationships, or is it strictly just you manifesting balance for people or with people? Or because this would be how technically you make money or you come into value. So is this more so in a network fashion, or how do you experience the actual physical property of this through converting energy? Because this could also be being able to command weather patterns, or or this could also be manifesting public speaking, writing, and kind of powers attributed to that too. I'm just really interested in how that works.
Well, if it was isolated, if it wasn't squared by moon and sun, I think
Right.
this would be a very different thing. But since my moon is squaring this and my sun is squaring this, it's just I definitely I find my joy in connection. Connection is my number one, but I find myself might be also because I'm an only child and all these things that even though it is my highest um, value to connect with people. I love talking to people. Like what we're doing now is what I thrive on. Like I love just talking to people, seeing how people think. Maybe it's my Uranus in the third. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
think
I just
that's
love it. I love the connection,
yeah,
but it's also been a sore topic for me because if I don't feel that way, if I feel isolated, it definitely hinders the self-esteem. So the way that I see this T square is the self-esteem, the second house is self-worth, right? So for me, it's really been playing out that way. It's like, this constant trying to achieve the connection with the outside world with people around me, but also feeling like something is missing, you know?
That's deep. And I think what it also is with your love of that is Venus and Sagittarius that's next to Uranus. It like extends that love towards seeing how everyone's connected and like kind of almost having an adventure in the way you communicate and share your thoughts,
Mhm,
which is super amazing.
mhm.
So yeah, thankfully you had the Pluto square. Pluto's finally gone over Mars, which I'm sure must have been very intense.
Yeah, it was the most intense couple of years of my life. Like, it was literally the rug being pulled from under my feet. Everything changed. Everything changed. Like,
Oh,
absolutely everything that could change changed. Like, astrology is clockwork because I saw this 3 years ago, and I was like, "What is gonna happen?"
wow,
And
right.
on the dot,
I love that.
exactly when it was happening is when, Pluto conjuncted my Mars, and that, great conjunction happened in December of 2021, I think, or 2020, I don't remember, but the Saturn, conjunct Jupiter, it was just a shit show. It was something else, man, and it was clockwork, like, it just the conjunction happened, and then the rug was pulled from under my feet. It was
That's
but I
the
survived. I'm a Capricorn, I survived.
man, and that's what I wanted to say too. You're a Capricorn, so you notice the clockwork, you notice the timing, you know, um, and that's the time that works as a system. I think is the greatest power of Capricorn, which
Mm,
is veritably gangster. So thank you for sharing that because that's very revealing. That's also a theme that moving forward we want to really honor your ability to take action with Mars here with the timing. But having and that's one of the things that this Aquarius season cycle or transit with Saturn, um, I've been so grateful for because like I've got this down to a science now. It's no longer kind of like, oh, is this right? It's like now it's starting to be more predictable. Like, okay, no, this is the science of it. This is how it's working. And it's
mhm,
just like you said, clockwork. It's all based on the timing of things.
mhm,
Um, so I like that you said that because if we take this exact same concept, Saturn that's going through your Saturn that's going through your sixth house is having you manifest this science into your lifestyle and how you build your routine and how you manifest this integration to make more advanced a lot of how you live your life with not even just these scientific principles, but your own awareness and psychic power and how you literally blend everything together. Because over the next 4 months, Jupiter, through your seventh house in Pisces, is evolving partnerships and stepping you into this new divine cycle of partnerships that will complete in personifying really about it September, which is going to be very exciting. So, yeah, if we talk a bit more about your North Node, we know that the the South, sorry, the Neptune aspects with Mercury and likely Venus really influence your MC and Gemini. And I think a lot about the communication is influenced by also this sense of how realistically you're in a position to fulfill your mission of sharing your individual message. I don't feel like Gemini is a story as much as it could be, as much as it is really like the message and changing the way people communicate and think of the truth. Because normally this can favor broadcast journalism or anything that really has you, whether through blogs or just individually sharing your ideas out with the world. But what I noticed with MCs and immutable signs are here to change the world. But what I noticed with these aspects primarily is that concerning these, okay, you're not meant to really keep a job. So, can you keep a job? Oh, absolutely. Especially as a Capricorn, you're probably going to be amazing at doing so. But if you find that you've moved a lot or you've moved from jobs a lot, the MC in Gemini is literally changing careers, changing professions because you're meant to show, especially as a critic, you're meant to fix the job. It's before you, after you. You're meant to change the way the upper management kind of thinks and reveal the truth or expose the truth to the people who work there. And then usually it's on to the next job.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, thank you. Because it doesn't mean it has to be like this, but normally it's like this for a lot of people. And it can sometimes feel like, damn, can I not keep a job? And it's like you're not really meant to, especially as an MC in Gemini, which favors self-employment, where like now Mercury rules your whole career and it's in the fourth and how you literally create your own autonomy and your own foundation. But once again, it's not like you can't be an employee with this because this can it favors whatever you want to do. But I'm glad that resonated with you because it also applies to living spaces where you literally ascend people's private worlds. And then, because people need this, maybe that's the only reason why I would think it goes to different people because, like, this magic is needed in so many places. And so it's like the universe redirecting you to kind of hook other people up in this fashion.
Yeah. Especially with the moon in the 10th too. Yeah, I definitely resonate with that.
Right, which like Libra rising is unconventional because the moon likes to be in the fourth and feel comfortable, but now it's applying this feeling towards what other people may think about you or feel about you. Um, but still very intuitive. So if we actually now look into the nodes here, um, my mother has North Node in Leo, and I appreciate that because it taught me that like in that destiny sense, we come from the past life. We all come from the same past lives, and any other North Node Aquariuses you see will kind of help complete that. But one thing North Node, South Node Leo taught me is I'm taking the creative resources of my ability to, come from the heart and be a great actor and performer in order to network with other people and to complete that with sharing this influence with the collective, creating a network really. Um, Now, the North Node in Leo, if a lot of people will say South Node in Leo is coming off that throne and not having it be about you in the spotlight, but to share that spotlight with other people. Well, the North Node in Leo is coming into that spotlight, which could be uncomfortable now because the challenge of Leo is getting on that stage and performing. And the South Node in Aquarius is you may be comfortable being in the crowd. You may be comfortable, connecting with the networking, and really, being behind the scenes and getting to know the people to make it festive. But your challenge is to get on stage and to rock that crowd
Mhm.
and using the resources of the audience that's supporting you to really crystallize this nature of your own courage to inspire people with your story and with your message. So in the 12th house, this is really difficult because now this is applying legendary status to your destiny. But that it's cool to say legendary status, but realistically, this could be a path that has you be very misunderstood, especially in a way that you're guided to do things that may, a north node like this. uh I've spoken to one person with this in Sagittarius, and she accepted that she's surrendering her full-on destiny to the creator so that she could be used by God in whatever way. So it's common to see these kind of like martyr like destinies, or the 12th house can kind of apply to the less fortunate, and so your heart can burn big into allocating collective resources to help those who are mentally ill or homeless or just don't necessarily have the ability to create or follow their dreams in the way they want to. Or once again, you can notice this within people's society, even deem as mentally stable. You can see maybe where they're lonely or where their hearts are lonely. So there's an infinite application to this. I would just think that in the 12th house, this is being able to align people's hearts with their own spirituality. And the key in how you do that is you unlock advanced routines and lifestyles with them. You unlock their lifestyle and align it with knowledge and with this logic. It's like you're like, hey, these are ways you can align the way you live with advanced knowledge. So based on this foundation, you can live the life of your dreams. You can actually follow your heart. But here is the knowledge and science of how you want to live this so that it's based on this so that you can overcome a lot of that. And I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's deeper than that. But how does that resonate with you?
100%. I was, the thing is, since I was a little girl, I always loved to be on stage. I tend to come off as a bit shy and introverted, but I love being on stage. I love to sing. I love to dance. I, l- for me, it's easier to be with this node in Leo in the 12th. It's easier for me to be on stage in front of lots of people than it is to talk to, say, 5 people. Like, public speaking in front of 10 people, really nerve-wracking, but if I were to use my like, what I love, singing, playing piano, all these things.
Wow.
So the 12th house, and the thing is I really fall with the Leo, I follow what brings me joy, so it's never been conventional, even though as a Capricorn, usually you wanna do things the conventional way. I've always kind of gravitated towards what makes me feel joyful in the moment.
Nice.
So that's how it's been playing out for me my entire life. And now suddenly I'm 41 years old, and I'm like, "What? What happened? Where am I?" And I'm still trying to figure out my purpose. So yeah, it's a
Which is
thing.
beautiful. That's very deep. Like Saturn is going to have you unlock your full purpose. It's providing the advanced lifestyle and techniques for you to fully just dive into your North Node, whether people understand it or not. So I really do appreciate that because a lot of this now facilitates even deeper into, in conclusion, what I want to really note out, it kind of note is your timing is so on point. The new moon on March 2nd, in approximately a month from now, is going to blow open your seventh house. It's going to begin this cycle of divine partnerships. And you have the vertex on the south node, like you have it in a sixth. So, vertex is like a faded point. And when we have this new moon, you're literally going to have Mercury and Saturn 19 degrees. This faded point during vertex transits are like life changing faded moments that really key a lot. So by the time we end March, Mars is going to be on here 19 degrees off over Venus. So March is going to be the most faded month for you this year. Also, transits in Taurus square this, and Leo opposite this, and Scorpio would trigger this too. So something's going to start this March next year for next month for you. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. In the sixth house, this is denoting maybe a lifestyle shift or change that's going to be you're aware of in your partnerships and significant relationships that come through. So, congratulations in advance, whatever this may be. But yeah, I'm definitely very curious as to how that'll play out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I saw all the transits, and especially with the Jupiter, Neptune, Venus conjunction in April. I can't wait to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing, and then followed up by May, where everything will be real in the eclipse. So, I hope you enjoyed this reading. This was an awesome, incredible reading. I'm glad we were able to touch base. Please feel free to keep in touch. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email. That's no problem. And I'm going to email you this recording right now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I loved it so much, and thank you again for everything that you do for all of us.
No problem. And you have a blessed week.
You as well. Have a good day.